Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Faction Wars, a New World podcast, episode 8, on today, this day, December the 29th, 2021. My name is Taylar Allen, and I am joined today by Stephen Fontana. Stephen, hello.
Yo, what's up, man? I am so disappointed, and let me tell you why. I poured myself the tallest and coldest glass of water. Just the coldest and tallest, and it's nowhere to be found. I have no idea where it is.
You're going to find that in, like, 3 days, like, with a layer of dust across
It's somewhere. It's somewhere, but it's the biggest cup I own, so I'm very disappointed that it's not in my mouth right now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
We are also joined this week, for the very first time ever, a 3-man crew on Faction Wars. You met him last week, Mr. Joseph Butler. Joe, hello. Welcome back.
Hello, and thank you for the welcome back.
Yeah.
I am having a terrible night now because my good friend Steve lost his cup of water,
I know, it's very
and I just feel awful for him.
Yeah.
You know, Joby, I want to say to both of you, excellent job on last week's show. I learned a lot. It made me super itchy to play, and not only did I play, I gained 4 levels that day that I listened to it because I was cleaning up my house, and then I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm settled in. Let me go. Boom. I sat down. 4 levels. Boom. I'm now level 50. Ready to do the thing, but you guys kicked its ass last week, so great job on that.
It was a good episode. I felt really good about it. I feel like we filled in for you okay enough. We got the weapon of the week out there.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Great
a
job
good
with
one.
that, by the way. Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried my hardest.
It was very good.
All right, this week, you guys, we don't have a lot of news to go over. The forums are silent. Not a lot of tweets coming from the New World account. Nothing really official. We talked about the dev update last week. So I thought it would be fun this week, since we are coming to the final days of this year, to talk about our New World New Year's resolutions. So we're going to go through. We're each going to take turns kind of going through some of our New Year's resolutions and things that we would like to achieve in the new year in New World. And I think we can kind of just rotate. I don't think we need to go through all of these. So, for example, my very first one that I would like to do is I really want to get my expertise capped out, at least on my main weapons and my armor, before dungeon mutations come out. I think that's going to be super, super crucial, especially because they had mentioned that they're increasing the gear score for mutations. I don't want to feel like I'm behind even further when that content comes out. So that is priority number 1 for me.
Numero uno. Got it.
That is wise. Remind me, when did they say mutations is coming out?
They said it's coming in the January update. So I would bet,
soon.
Yeah, middle of January if they follow the same cadence. Mid-late January is when we can probably expect that. So
that is a good one.
That is goal number 1. Joe, what is one of your New Year's resolutions?
So my first one kind of ties into the second one, so maybe I'll do those together real quick. But I want to own 3 houses. I've always only ever had 1 or 2. And that was fine for me because I didn't need to like travel around too much, and I didn't have the trophies to fill 3 houses anyway. But I'm starting to get to where I could really use the benefit of having more trophies. And so that's becoming more and more important. And the most important one for me right now, aside from maybe luck, is trying to get the armoring trophies. Because once I get my armoring trophies maxed out, I'll be able to make some pretty sweet gear. And I think that can become kind of like my little thing, you know. So that's my goal, is to get 3 houses and to max out my armoring trophies.
Well, one thing you're going to need to do to be able to get 3 houses is actually make some freaking money. Joe and I incessantly fight back and forth because Joe and I play together a lot. I am a hoarder of money. Okay. I will sell off craft mods and not even think twice about it. I'll go through and sell like all of my most valuable stuff so that I have gold for when I want to do something, right? I like keeping that stuff liquid. Joe, on the other hand, is
Exact opposite.
constantly like hoarding all of his resources
Yeah.
and rubbing two pennies together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
I'm in between the two of you. I am afraid to sell or destroy something, just in fear of that. Oh shit, that's a value. That's a thing I need a lot of later on or whatever. So I'm very much into the whole hoarding stuff, but also the things that I know I can get really quickly, I will sell as many times as possible. And I've recently had up to like 16K just kind of sitting there in the bank. You know what I mean? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I did spend 4,000 gold transferring it to a new area, that had some level 5 crap. I mean, I did fuck that up though. I will say that because apparently there's an area, I forget which one it is. I think it's Windsward. I don't know. That has everything level 5 like all the time. So I probably should just make my crafting there, but my house isn't there. It's a long story, but
sure,
guys, I have a trophy related New Year's resolution as well, and this one's gonna probably blow your mind. But I want everybody to sit down and really absorb this. I'd like to have a crafting trophy. Just any trophy, just any one of them would be cool to have.
They're surprisingly cheap. Those basic ones, or not the basic, the minor trophies.
Ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you, it'd be so cheap that you could just ask one of us and we could make one for you pretty easily.
Yeah.
No. Like that's great. So this is yeah. I mean, the way it goes for me is like apparently I play only when no one's playing, or Miss Envy's playing, and Miss Envy, like I'm a little higher than her right now, so like it's not, she's not one of the power players in the faction, in the company. So like I'll be like, hey, anybody playing? I could use some help. Crickets. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I'm about to log off and I see everyone come on. AJ Maranaccio comes on. Everybody, Lord Rostinol. I'm like, what is happening here? But yeah, I would like a trophy. That would be cool. I would like to start into getting into that part of the game because there's so much of the game I have not touched, and trophies is one of them that I should really be getting into.
Yeah. I even now, like learning more and more about the game, trophies, I know we've said this a million times on the show, but trophies are so invaluable. Like pay whatever you need to get those trophy materials because they're so worth it. You have to have them if you want to be a top tier crafter. You have to have them if you want to be able to do the really difficult end game dungeons, arenas and stuff. Like they're just so valuable. So.
Well, and honestly, getting a loot luck trophy, which is probably like I would say the most important one to get first, maybe. That's like all you need is a rabbit's foot, some steel, some lumber. It's like really simple. Something that would be easily achievable and a great first step.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. My next New Year's resolution kind of ties into what we were talking about. I want to hit 100K in the bank. I hit my highest gold total ever today. I hit 41,000.
Wow.
I was really excited about that. I've got 3 houses and, I paid my rent this week or whatever, and still I'm netting out at 41K. I've found a couple of little sneaky ways to make a decent amount of money that's really easy and also gains me aptitude chests like really quick. And so I've just been grinding that. My secret, and I may be spoiling this, maybe price on this specific item is just gonna like plummet over the next couple of days or whatever.
Could this be a tip and trick right now?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, we're getting into tips and tricks, folks.
I will go out with a completely empty bag. I'll go out right outside of Windsward, and I will just chop down young trees, and I will get like 4,000-5,000 greenwood. And then come in and burn it down to charcoal. Charcoal on our server, I'm selling for like 38 cents between like 25 and 38 cents, right? Depending on where the orders are at. And so I am, and with my smelting, I'm at like 195 smelting or whatever. So I have like a 20% chance to make more charcoal. Um, with it at that point, I'm selling like 3,000 pieces of charcoal, and they sell instantly. You guys, I will list them. They will be sold within all of them sold within 24 hours. That's just a couple grand
Yeah, that's great.
in the bank for me. So
Mm-hmm.
charcoal has been like one of my nice, just like turn on a YouTube video or a podcast and go out in the forest and chop wood for an hour kind of money makers. Plus, I get logging caches from it, which are super valuable as well. So
Somebody recently accidentally, I assume it's accidentally, put a pretty common item up there, and that they were gonna pay 700 per 700, not seven.
Like a buy order, you mean?
Yeah, a buy order.
Yeah.
700 gold per item, and I think Miss Envy had 10 of that item. It was like it wasn't a super common item, but she was like, yeah, I'm gonna sell this. And I was like, oh man, jealous. It was some sort of cursed medallion, cursed, I don't know, something
crafting
like
mod probably.
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, oh man, look at you. Yeah.
Well,
that's amazing.
Good times. Look out for weird items like that. Like go in there and just click everything. Really go through, because you'd be surprised. Somebody could be offering you 100% more than the next guy just because they really want the item very quickly, and you can make a quick buck, and you could replace that.
Especially on craft mods. There are some craft mods that are used for like wars specifically. If it's for like a really good PvP ability or something.
Like a lot of the Warhammer mods, Great Axe mods.
Yeah. Or Void Gauntlet mods. I've sold the Putrefying Scream Void Gauntlet mod for like 4K.
Ooh.
And I got like 5 of them. Like they're super valuable. So definitely go through, see what that stuff's going for on the market if you're short on cash.
It's a good one. Okay, one of my next New Year's resolutions for New World is I would really like to max out my armor and jewelry expertise. And so like I'm not really thinking that weapons will get there quite yet, because I think that'll take quite a long time. But I think at least the armor and the weapon or in the jewelry is doable. And those are, I think, more important to me because I'll always use those, right?
Sure.
And I'm very excited because my headgear expertise is currently at 589 and 590 is the max. So I'm very close to my first one. And then I'll maybe, start finding some legendary items, which is going to be very exciting.
Very nice.
So yeah, I want to get into that for all of my armor and jewelry.
So considering I'm so far behind you guys, like a lot of mine are going to could sound dumb, because I'm not in endgame content right now, but I do have a personal challenge that I want to do. And that is, I want to visit every town in one sitting, every single one on the entire map without fast traveling. I want to map one out, and I just want to go and walk or run or briskly jog to every single town, starting, at wherever, it doesn't matter, and then just chart a little path and just have fun and go and see what the world is about, see how it all flows together and everything like that. Just by the time I'm like ready to do that, I'll probably have seen every place at least once anyway, but it would be cool to really enjoy the game and not have to worry about needing to be anywhere. So I, fast travel here, do this mission there, but just go and just kind of hunt as I go, chop down trees as I go, find, whatever. It would be really cool to do that during the winter convergence, because you have all the presents along the roads. But I think that would be a cool little New Year's resolution. I want to travel the entire map without fast traveling.
I love that. I actually, obviously not to that extent, but I today was actually out. I was like, I need to get silk. I have like 900 sateen in my Windsward storage. It's taking up way too much space. I need silk so I can start refining this stuff down. So I started in Brightwood, because Brightwood has a bunch. Went from Brightwood down to what's Weaver's Fen, Reekwater, Restless Shores, and then finished up in Morningdale. And so I ran through each of those territories, just like gathering as I went. And it was a ton of fun. Like, it's really cool to go out, like, explore the world and, like, just kind of walk the roads and see what you can find. I really, really enjoyed that. And I want to start doing that more.
I forgot to tell
I think
you.
that'd be cool. Yeah.
I did something on my last 2 days of playthrough. I played Flagged for PvP.
Whoa.
Right?
Wow.
Right? Right?
That's a big deal. Our server has actually gotten like pretty competitive for PvP lately.
Yeah.
And so like playing Flagged is pretty serious. So
yeah, man.
That's awesome.
I did
How was it?
I mean, it was nobody bothered me. I played myself, gentlemen. Here's how. I did a mission. It was a scout this thing, pick up the thing, bring it to the next place, and then I did it. I did all 3 things. I'm like, yay! And then I fast traveled back.
Oh.
And it was like, oh no! By the
man.
way, you have to do that over again because you're not allowed to fast travel. I was like, shit.
Yeah. Dang.
I thought because I completed every part of the task, like it wouldn't reset for some reason.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was like only if you're in the middle of it, you can't like leave and come back in case like, oh yeah, well this guy's attacking me, I'm out of here, bye. But yeah, so I still haven't completed a single mission, PvP mission. But I was running around the world all flagged for PvP and stuff.
That's awesome.
And the other thing that I was doing was in the Christmas spirit was I was going to the low level areas with all of my mana potions and mana foods because I don't use magic anymore. And I was just finding like a level 12 and just giving him like, I don't know, 400 items. Just here you go. Bye.
Yeah. I've tried to do that a few times and quickly gave up when like no one wanted my junk. But
people get
that is
angry sometimes.
Very charitable of you.
I did that fairly recently after we ran Starstone. Joe, I think it was with you actually. There was someone posting in LFG a while back that needed help with it. I think it was someone, around that level. So we ran through it, those dungeons, especially if you don't have to make the keys yourselves, are like decent for making gold. So we just ran through it. You can get some decent craft mods and stuff there. And we came out and all of my gear that I got from it was like 300 gear score or whatever, so I was just gonna scrap it. But there was this like level 21 guy standing outside that like wasn't even high enough level to do Starstone yet, and so I traded with him and just gave him everything, and he freaked out, and it was super cool. He was like, oh my gosh, I can't use any of this stuff yet, because I think it was like a level 30 requirement or whatever. But he's like, I'm gonna hang on to this until I get that level. Like, this is awesome.
No, you won't, because you're gonna find shit on your way to that level.
100%. But he was stoked about it, so I felt good.
Tis the season.
I missed out on the 4 coins I would have got from scrapping it, but I gave him the stuff and he was excited, so that was nice.
That's great.
All right, my next New Year's resolution, I want to max out all of my refining skills. For one main reason only, and that is so that I can sell off my cooldowns for my high tier crafting materials. Because everybody's looking to craft more Asmodeum, to craft more Phoenix Weave, more runic leather, right? So I will be that guy. They give me the mats, they pay me a little bit of money, I'll just refine it for them, give it back. Easy money, make expertise caches off of it, or aptitude caches off of it. I think it's a no-brainer. If Joe needs more Asmodeum, because I know he will, I can make some for him too. But that's my next goal on my crafting journey, is I want to max out all of those refining skills. My smelting is the closest. I'm at 195 there. Everything else, I'm at like the 175-ish range. And I just need to like take some time to go and like make a checklist of the materials that I need, because on all of them it's like, okay, I've got 900 of the tier 3 crafted components, but I'm missing the thing to get from tier 3 to tier 4 or whatever, and then I've got a bunch of the tier 5 stuff. So I need to, just go make a checklist of the things that I need and where I need to go to get them, and just do it. But that's one of my big goals for early next year.
It's a good one.
That is a good one. That is a good one. Yeah, I am like too scared to sell my cooldowns because I need to make it for myself. What if I need it one day? I don't want to be caught without my runic leather, you know? That's a
Sure.
very real fear that I live with every day.
I totally get that.
Yeah, yeah. I actually am currently short on runic leather and I can't make fancy bags because of it. So
Oh, dang. Bags
currently,
take a lot though, dude. Like
yeah, 45. It is
that's
oodles.
I think for armor it's like 20 or something. Like
Yeah.
it's way less. So
Yeah.
you're throwing that stuff into the real expensive boys.
Yeah. One day I'll have like a 600 gear score bag with the best slots and it'll all be worth it in the end. But
You'll carry all the damn green wood you can to your heart's content.
exactly.
That's what it's all about,
I'll
you
never
guys.
have to throw anything out of my bag again. I'll just carry everything.
Perfect.
Damn right.
Okay, I have a weird one.
Okay.
Kind of a little bit in the spirit of Steve's last one, but one of my resolutions is to give my character in New World a little bit more substance in their backstory and kind of the weird little like role play story that I play out in my mind as I do stuff. I know that's kind of silly and not really necessary, but
Nah,
I
I'm
have a
all
lot
about
more
that.
fun. Yeah, yeah, it's a good time, and I have a lot more fun when I'm like, oh man, my character would think this in this situation, or do this, or talk in this way with this goofy accent or something. I don't know. But I just think that would make playing it a little bit more fun, and I think games like New Worlds, and especially New World, honestly, in this sort of like genre of game, really shines when you add a bit of flavor to the typical like numbers grind that you're doing. The flavor is what catches me, so I want to add a little bit more flavor to my time in Eternum with a little bit more backstory for my character.
Your character reminds me of Ron Burgundy because of
Whoa,
his mustache.
because of his mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's great.
He's got that Anchorman mustache down.
Yeah. I like to think that my character was like a mid-tier intellectual who turned like mid-tier mediocre pirate somewhere along the way and then eventually just got lost on Eternum.
Love that.
And yeah, I'm gonna kind of go from there, I think, as I start to think about it a bit more.
Yes, my character is the daughter of a pirate king who
Cool.
tried to get away from the pirate life and be a proper lady. I was going to say gentleman, but a proper lady, but was pulled into the ruckus and regretfully has taken up her arms to defeat the dead people. There you go. There's my story.
That's great. That's
the
great.
bad guys. All right, let's do. Oh, Steve, give me another one. And
Yeah. Okay. This one's an actual game mechanic thing that I want to actually accomplish in the new year, and I would really like to max out every weapon. Just have everything to 20. I just think that it would be better for me to branch out, and if I set it as a goal, I'm more likely to do it instead of just getting trenched in between 2 and 4 weapons. So yeah, I want to do that. I want to. It's a simple one, but yes, I want to be level 20 and everything.
As someone who has level 20 in basically everything, Joe, do you have any bits of advice?
Well, beyond just like, trying to have fun with each weapon and being willing to change the way you play the game to kind of, do that. There's a great place in Restless Shore where you can farm out mastery really quickly. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's one of like the circular camps on the beach right outside of the big lost fortress. I think it's north, maybe a little bit northeast of the town. I know it's for sure northeast of the elite area, the elite Angry Earth area, kind of down the cliffs. But it's a great place. You can go in there, run in a big circle, get a train of like a couple dozen lost pirates following after you, and then if you have some AoE damage stuff, and especially if you have like a group of 3 or 4 people, you can clear those waves pretty quick and get like I think 40 to 50 mastery per enemy. But again, I think the biggest thing is just, lean into the theme of each weapon and have a good time with it. I had a great time getting them all to 20.
Beautiful. All right, let's go around one more time. We'll give our last ones, and then we can just kind of shoot the breeze about what we think of the December update so far. I want to go over a couple of things. We also have a tip or trick for the week. We've got our weapon of the week and Joby's Lore Lowdown, episode 2.
Oh, baby.
So, my very last New Year's resolution is I want our company to win an attacking war. Now, when we very first transferred to the server, I had mentioned on this podcast, the server was completely purple, every single territory. And we came in, and Green has actually taken, I think, 5 territories now since we merged like a week and a half ago. And it's been super, super competitive. Like, there's been a lot of really fun open world PvP, and a lot of wars waged right off the bat. I would love for our company to push a territory and take it. So it's going to be an uphill battle. The purple companies on our server field a very good 50-man war team. Like they're really, really good and coordinated at PvP. But I think we can do it. We've got some good guys from our last server who just switched to green that I think it'll make a very competitive battle.
It's very intimidating.
That's a great one. I'm very excited to help make that a reality.
Yeah, stoked about it. All right, Joe, give me your last one.
Okay, last one. I want to max out my spear expertise specifically. I've bounced around a lot between the different weapons that I play, and I've found that I always love the spear the most, I think, and always kind of, and it's the most versatile weapon, I think, too. You can use it in a dex build, in a strength build. It's a good off weapon for like a healer maybe. So I want to get that one up because I think I'll always be able to use a really good spear.
Yeah, I think that resonates with all of us here. We've all had our time with the spear where we've really enjoyed it. For a very long time, I was running Life Staff Spear before the Void Gauntlet came out. I know Steve was running kind of a similar build. So the spear is a really fun weapon, man. And I think it's just so underrated because it's not like the top tier PvP weapon, but it's just so much fun to play.
It is a really good time. All of its abilities just feel so good and satisfying to land. And it's really fun to me because it has really short cooldowns on a lot of its abilities, and there's a lot of cooldown reduction as well. And so you can kind of get into this flow of like ability attack attack ability attack attack, and like you can kind of get some good combos going, and it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah, I like using it with hatchets because I use throwing hatchets exclusively, so I get a lot of the bleed and just a lot of cool effects that stack. Because I believe the hatchet, I think it's the hatchet, does more critical damage the more debuffs on the enemy or something like that. So like having the spear do a couple itself and then the throwing axe and then getting up close and finishing them off with the hand axe, it's like, or with the hatchet. It's a pretty cool combo. I like it a lot. I don't really know how everything talks to each other just yet, but I am enjoying it. And my final New Year's resolution is not for New World. It is for Faction Wars, a New World podcast, which of course is a podcast dedicated to the New World and all that fun stuff. It's about the latest news, tips, tricks, and stories from Eternum. You could listen to it anywhere where you find podcasts, and of course on our channel, youtube.com/dualscreenstv. But it's really for the show, and that is, I want to continue my streak of always having a weapon of the week, because sometimes the pressure gets on and I may be like, shit, I just didn't have time. No excuses. A weapon of the week every single week.
I mean, you have single-handedly manifested the blunderbuss coming to the game. Like
it's true.
You made that happen.
Yep.
So I think you have to stick with it. Obviously, Papa Jeff is listening. So
yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Steven.
Yeah.
What's our weapon of the week this week?
A weapon of the week is the Earthen Staff
Oh, okay. Tell me
This
more.
is a staff that is all about manipulating the earth around your enemies and controlling the terra around you. This is much like the ice gauntlet, okay? But this is a staff, and you can do things like an earthquake, like a ripple effect, knock dudes on their feet. You could pull up earthen spikes out of the ground to slow your enemies down. You can put a big block wall in front of you to block attacks and protect your friends. You could encase yourself into a bunch of stone, kind of like the ice gauntlet can, encase you. But you could still attack while you're in that form and move around kind of like a big old Ben Grimm, as it were. The Thing. You could shoot stone out of the staff as its basic like attack, and then maybe you can aim instead of blocking with the staff. You could aim like the hatchet, and you can do like a spike, like a stone spike can come out of it, something more like a sniper attack. And that is my weapon. It's
interesting. So I'm picturing like a lot of crowd control, maybe like a ranged great hammer kind of thing.
Yes. Big boy. Hammer. Like this is like you're a mage, right? You're gonna be this is probably gonna be a. You know what? I'm gonna throw a curveball here. Okay. Constitution is its main stat.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you'd be like a real tanky crowd control.
Yeah. Just thud. Okay. Just a big thud. I'm talking slow lumbering, but like protective and just ground altering. That's what I'm picturing for this. Maybe you could even do the opposite. You could do like quicksand. You could change the earth into like a quicksand, so that the enemies just kind of get stuck in this little circle.
You like root them. That's cool.
Yeah.
So basically, my dreams of being a twizzard, a tank wizard, would come true.
Yep. Absolutely. So you got your earthen staff.
Beautiful.
That's what I
my
call
two dreams of being an earthbender and a twizzard.
Great weapon choice, Steven. I feel like we've done a lot of these like martial weapons so far, so very, very nice to kind of get outside of the box and show some love to our magic users out there.
They need it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
All right. Tip or trick of the week is also going to lead us to a little bit of conversation about the December update. I want to talk about aptitude. I think personally that this is the best system that they added to the game, because it feels like no matter what you're doing, it's valuable, right? So I've spent a lot of time farming out aptitude caches just to kind of see what they do, what the deal is with them, right? I've got stone cutting up to 200, so I've gotten a couple of stone cutting caches. All of my gathering skills, except for fishing, I have up to 200, and so I've seen each of those as well. These aptitude caches are so valuable, but they're even more valuable for the crafting abilities, specifically furnishing and cooking, because these aptitude caches can drop trophy materials, things like stacked decks, loaded dice, armors, journals, all the things to upgrade your trophies, which sell for a ton, like 30 to 50K, right? Super, super expensive. It can also drop schematics. You can get schematics for like the star metal or orichalcum chests that sell for a ton. You can get schematics for the super rare furniture and stuff in the game. You can also get rare recipes for those people who are cooking. That's in the drop pool. So super, super valuable. Make sure that you are pushing those aptitude caches as much as you can. And on top of that, you get a bunch of vials of Azoth so that you can just fast travel whenever you want. Unless your name is Joby, of course.
Yeah, I have an objection to that statement.
Really?
I just don't understand it. He's got 100 vials of suspended Azoth. and he'll still run from Great Cleave to Shattered Mountain because he doesn't want to pay to fast travel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a principle,
Like,
isn't
dude, it blows my mind.
I just like being sure that I have enough Azoth, and I always have a lot of stuff in my inventory because I'm doing like a little bit of everything, and so it's frequently like at least 400 Azoth to fast travel anywhere at the very minimum. So you just gotta be a little Scrooge McDucky with your Azoth sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
You need to be better about dropping your stuff off. This is what you need to do. Like get stuff out of your inventory.
Well, here's the problem: is I use like everything because I'm doing like a lot of different stuff, so I always need basically like every crafting material I'm always in need of. So it feels really bad to drop anything.
No, don't. I'm not saying drop it. I mean, like, leave it in town before you
Well,
fast travel somewhere. You know,
it's all of it is full. It's permanently full. So
that's insane.
I have lots of
That just
problems
blows my
I'm
mind.
working through. Is the theme of this
Yeah,
conversation.
this might not be the game for you.
Yeah,
This is dangerous. I
Freaking-
think this might be enabling some poor behaviors.
Perhaps.
Faction Wars episode 9 is actually going to be a new episode of Hoarders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
T-
I'm down for
let me
some
ask you this,
faction
Joby.
warfare.
How many hyssop do you have?
Hyssop?
Do you have
Yeah.
Do you have 27,000 hyssop?
I actually don't. I discovered really early on that I did frequently have oodles and oodles of hyssop, and I started dropping it because it opened up a lot of space for me.
Right. Okay.
But that is a good tip. That is a good place to start.
Yeah.
If you have
Make
a
your
problem
potions.
like me.
Make your potions.
Yeah. Or sell it and make some money because Joe also never has any money.
I don't
So,
know.
Steve, you've been playing a bunch the last couple of days.
I have.
Do you have are any of your trade skills up to 200? Do you have any
No.
experience with these dashes?
I think
Okay.
the closest I'm at, I feel like might be mining, and I think it's at like 144. Something
Really?
like that, or like one.
I feel like most people max out skinning first.
I
Skinning
can't remember.
seems
It
like
might be skinning. It's
Yeah.
one of those two. I started to really pay attention to cooking foods that help me with luck on those things. So like, if I have a lot of kill 15 of these boar, kill 10 of these rabbits, 25 of this, I'll just be all right. Let me put skinning on, and I'll just get the bonus for that. And it does help. So I'm pretty close on mining and or skinning. And I think that's it. So it's going to be between one of the two of those.
Gotcha. Joe, how have you enjoyed the aptitude caches so far?
I have enjoyed them quite thoroughly. It honestly like revitalized my obsessive desire to just like gather everything and refine everything and craft everything I can, because I was doing that, but once I got to 200 on a lot of my my trade skills, which I did pretty early on, not meaning to like toot my own horn or anything, because it's literally just a matter of time spent playing the game, and I have obsessively played the game. But like all of my gathering, except for fishing, is at 200. All of my refining, except for stone cutting, is at 200. And so like a lot of this stuff felt like a waste of time after a while, and I would just start ignoring things. But now with the aptitude system, I like have that urge, but even more so now, because now I'm getting almost even like more rewards for continuing to do these things, because the, like you were saying, the aptitude chests are so valuable. Stuff that I had never even gotten once before, like for example, I think I got 5 Tolvium ever in my journey from 0 to 200 and then some of mining, and Cinnabar I didn't get a single one, but now I have like, like I think I have like 50 or 60 of each right now. So yeah, it feels real good. And I agree that the aptitude chests are probably the best change they've added to the game, closely followed by expertise, but I still think the aptitude thing is more of a plus for me.
Yeah. And I think it's valuable to everyone, right? Like whether you're a crafter or not, getting those mods and getting those legendary materials to make money or make gear or to give to someone in your company to craft, like it helps everyone out. And it shocks me. Like I've paid very close attention to the price of Tolvium and Cinnabar on our server. it hasn't gone down since this release. Like I
Yeah,
thought for
it's just so
sure
surprising.
since the market was just going to be flooded with this stuff, that it would tank the price on all of these like legendary crafting materials, but it doesn't. So it may be different on other servers, but at least on our server, whether people are just not wanting to gather and are okay just paying for it or whatever, like, they're still super valuable, which is very cool.
Well, and if you think about how much of each of those legendary materials it costs to actually craft any like really high level piece of armor or weapon,
Mm-hmm.
it's insane. And so I think
Sure.
probably what's happening a little bit is that no one was trying to craft this stuff before because it's a risk every time because you're choosing one perk, you're throwing
Mm-hmm.
some Azoth in there, and you're hoping for the best, to try and get a good roll.
Yeah.
And so it was so costly to do that I'm sure people were very hesitant to do that. But now with all those materials being way more accessible, I think there's probably just more crafting going on overall, which is
Sure.
good for everyone. It adds
Yeah.
more stuff into the economy for everyone to have access to. Even if it's not for a while for newer players, it's still, I guess, like boosting the new world economy overall.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, the addition of the timeless shards has made it so
Yeah,
that people are more willing to craft too. Because
that's true.
before you were risking like, yes, I want this one perk, but if the item rolls with shit stats, if you're trying to make a life staff and it rolls with strength and intelligence, you're just like, oh, great, okay, I just wasted this drop of Azoth, drop of petrified Azoth, that sells for 1,200 gold. I just totally wasted it on this
You
life
wasted
staff.
your Asmodium and your
Yeah,
Quintessence and everything else that it
exactly.
takes too, which is like
Exactly. But
thousands of gold of material.
yeah, but now that you have these timeless shards so that you can select the attributes that are going to be on the piece of equipment and you can pick a perk, like it's so valuable. And so I really do believe that this update, people are going to look back on as like the foundation of crafting as we're going to know it for the foreseeable future on New World. It has been so instrumental in getting crafting like really moving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we just have a little bit more time, so Joe, why don't you take us to Joby's lore lowdown? Give us a little tidbit of lore for this week before we
Joby's lore
Great.
lowdown.
That was excellent. I need a
like
little soundbite intro for this. That would be fun, huh?
You just got it, man. You just got it. That was it.
Yep.
Okay, we'll record that. And we'll just use it from here on.
No, I'll do it live. I'll do it live.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Everything is live produced on this show.
Okay. Well, you'll get some live Steve performance every week. That's very exciting.
Steve performance every week live.
Very good. Very good.
You sound like the Sports Center top 10 guy. I love that. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Guys, I think the intro is better than the content now, so I don't know what to do. No. Okay, everyone get cozy by the fire. We're going to talk about some lore. Let me take you guys to Eden Grove here for a moment. I'm going into the Tales of Eden Grove in my journal in New World. There's a really interesting set of pages in Eden Grove called the Evernight Letters. And I don't know if either of you guys have, or anyone listening, have read a lot of like H.P. Lovecraft or like that type of horror, like the sort of cosmic horror type of stuff. Like another book in that genre is Annihilation. It's kind of a popular one. But a lot of like this type of horror stuff is told from the perspective of someone who went through some harrowing event that was like immensely intense for them, and it's kind of like an interesting genre of horror. This feels very much like that. The Evernight Letters tells the story of a town in Eden Grove that very, very slowly started to be taken by the lost. And it kind of goes through the story of this family where you see like an older sibling mourning the loss of I think it's her mother and a few other people in the town. But then rumors start to swirl around the town that they have seen these people sort of like creeping about in the woods on the outskirts of the town. And slowly but surely, people are led off into the woods by these people who come back And as Lost, when people come back as Lost, they still maintain a decent amount of their, I guess, like the body's memories or personality, and they'll still oftentimes go through some of the same routines, act in the same way, but the soul is missing. And so there's just this terrible story of what ends up happening is this poor little girl, with her entire family and the entire town eventually wandering off to the lost, ends up spending multiple days hiding in the town, watching like these people she knew as lost wandering about. And I just want to read you guys the last little paragraph. It's a good time, and then we'll call it there. But just picture the spookiness for this poor little girl named Annika. This last time I thought I saw Maurice in the field walking toward me through the flowers, smiling, happy. If it is her, then I will run to her and ask her to take me away from this horrid place. There's a sound at the door. Someone is here. Maurice? I can smell flowers freshly cut. She has come for me to lay the petals around me so I might sleep. Annika. And that is where the journal entries end. But I think that is one of my favorite examples of kind of how the Lost operate, and a very, very spooky example of it as well. And there you have it. There is the lore lowdown for the week.
Nerd!
Huge nerd reading journal entries. I actually started reading them myself. And
they're surprisingly good.
There's some really good ones in there.
Yeah,
there's some good stuff in there.
We ran Lazarus Instrumentality, which is one of the end game dungeons, for the very first time the other day. And Joe was telling me the lore from the couple of pages in there, and it actually, like, giving credit to Amazon Game Studios, their writing is very, very good, and it sounds like they put a lot of effort into these lore pages. So
yeah.
We gotta. They have to figure out a better way to communicate the lore
100%
in video games
100%.
in general. Like, just in general.
It's so hard because usually people who play these kinds of games are schlubs like Taylar here, who just, will skip through the lore pages and not even read them.
Yep.
And so when they're making a game for the people who love to see big numbers pop up over the bad guys' heads, it's kind of hard to have like a compelling narrative. But if you put forth the effort to go and read and like look for context clues in the environment and stuff, there's actually a lot of good stuff in Eternum.
And I know this is like going on a slight tangent, but I went back and I watched the opening cinematic of the game again recently, because I was kind of just messing around in the character creator for fun. I didn't actually end up fully making the character, but I wanted to watch that opening cinematic again, and it's so good. Like, it's very compelling. It gets you interested in like what Captain Thorpe is doing and stuff. And like, it's such a great introduction to the world. And then there's not another cinematic for the rest of the game. And I think that's such a bummer.
Yeah,
that is such a missed opportunity.
There has to be. I'm sure when they release some big expansion, they'll have like they'll continue to add on to that story. They've actually talked about how the main story of the game, like Isabella's story and Captain Thorpe's story, is not over, and there's a lot they're still going to explore with it. Yeah,
I just wish, like, even throughout the main story quest, if there were just a couple of short cinematics, or even just in-engine, like, little things that they could do. I just think it would get people interested.
That's the thing that's missing
with the story so much more. Yeah,
that's the thing that's missing for sure. Final Fantasy 14 does it so well, just so beautifully. All the cutscenes, people sit there and we'll watch those cutscenes. They're true Final Fantasy cutscenes. It's like playing Final Fantasy, And I think that's a big carrot at the end of the stick for players who invest, 200, 300, 400, 500 hours into the game. They get rewarded with amazing cutscenes. And I think the New World, as long as the player base now continues to build again, and the quality of life continues to rise, and they could start focusing on that kind of thing, it would be really cool, 5 years from now, to get like a retelling of this first part of the game.
Yeah. Where
like new players come in and they get all these new cinematics that they could watch and stuff like that. Almost like a relaunch of the original story. While players who've been playing for years get those cutscenes, but in a different, like an add-on or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. That quality.
That's a great idea.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that I feel like it was something that was supposed to happen, but wound up being taking a back seat to the mechanics and making sure all that stuff worked for launch.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think a lot of people forget that New World was like a open world survival game 2 years ago. This was
Yeah.
not originally supposed to be an MMO. And they didn't have any dungeons planned. Like it was just like a PvP focused open world survival game. And they added all of this like PvE content and extra stuff really within the last like 2 years or so. So I understand the game probably should have come out like a year later, but I'm very happy that we're able to play it when we can play it. So
Yeah. I've heard a few interviews with the narrative lead, I think is what the title of that guy was, but it sounds from the way he talked about sort of the resource allocation within Amazon Game Studios that they at least wish that there was a little bit more room and resources given for the storytelling in the game. And I can totally understand that, like, that is not a priority when there are bugs that are kind of breaking the game for a lot of people, and you need to make sure that the game is fun to play first, you know. But I am very optimistic that they will take advantage of all the open-ended questions and possibilities and opportunities that the story has given us so far, and I'm excited to see what's to come.
Sure. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. That was a nice, sizable episode.
It was chunky.
Yeah, it was a good one. Chunky with like no news whatsoever, but I had a good time. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and thank you all so much for listening. This is Faction Wars, a New World podcast, part of the Dual Screens Network. If you guys want to support this show as well as the rest of the content that us over here at Dual Screens are putting out, you can do that on our YouTube channels, on our Twitter at dual_screens, as well as on Patreon at patreon.com/NDS podcast. Just like our Patreon producers, FNH Paul, Colton the Apprentice Nestler, and Vegas Girl on Fire have, this show literally could not exist without you guys, so thank you all so much. Until next time, this has been Faction Wars. Keep hunting those presents. Bye.